we got a contest going on. And that contest is whoever can make the best song slash remix out of the original Discmania promos I reacted to the other day has a chance to win 5 discs. By the time this video goes up, there's going to be an Instagram post explaining the rules. But basically, the deadline is December 27th. Send me your submission to coloradodgc@gmail.com and you will be entered into winning those 5 discs. I'm going to react to all the songs on a separate video sometime after Christmas, and I will announce the winner then. So I look forward to hearing your submissions because they have put a big smile on my face so far, and hope for a bunch more. Okay, let's jump into it.
527 feet. So you see hooks to the left. It's in the middle of the fairway. Easy play on 3.
Guys, did you hear that banger? Oh man, I love it. What is up, guys? Welcome back to day number 17 of Vlogmas. And shout out to Heike Antonin for sending me that banger, his submission for the contest. And we'll also hear another banger at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. So today, back on Tier Maker, and I'm gonna be basically putting the discs where they need to go, kind of telling you which Discmania discs are pro level all the way down through beginner, and also telling you which ones are for everybody. So let's get this party started, and I'm gonna start off with the putters. And I think, you know, the putter that started it all is the P2. The P2 is my favorite putter. If we were doing another tier list, this would definitely be S tier, but right away it's a putter, and I think most putters are gonna go in this slot. It's for everybody. Almost everybody will find a use for the P2. The only reason I think you wouldn't like a P2 is if you're more used to a shallow putter or a beaded putter. You know, if you like beaded putters, we're gonna put the link right next to it. It's very similar to P2, maybe a little bit straighter, but it's got a bead, really easy thrower. Everyone loves it. I know that for a fact. Or almost everyone, you know what I mean. This video is for the disc maniacs, so you know, I'm not talking about the people who put with other stuff. This one's for the fam. Okay, moving on, we got the P1X. The P1X is for everybody, but I'd say it's probably the most beginner friendly putter we have. And quick disclaimer, some of these discs aren't on the Discmania store, and they are currently not being produced. The P1X, I believe, is one of those discs, so don't quote me on this because I don't know exactly. I'm going to do my best to give you the correct information, but last time I checked, I don't think we were producing the P1X, but I think you can probably find them pretty easily. If you go to the Facebook group, Discmania Collectors and Throwers, you could easily make an in search of post if you want a P1X. Moving on, we have the P1, another putter that is out of production at the moment. That's going to be everybody. It's similar to the P2. It's a little bit glidier and less stable out of the hand. Very similar feel to the P2, but it's a little bit different. It's the same, but different. A little bit easier, probably a little bit more beginner friendly. Okay, now we got the P3 out of production. It's kind of an awkward one. It's a very low profile putter. You either love it or you hate it. I know there's a fan club for the P3 out there. It can be for everybody, but it also can be for nobody. Basically, I don't recommend going and seeking out the P3. If you throw the P3 already, then you're the minority. But if you love it, you love it. I know a few people do. Just gonna leave that there. Next, we got the Sensei, absolutely for everybody. Putters are for everybody, guys. So you've probably heard people say this before. If you're just starting out, throw a putter or a mid-range. It's going to be a lot easier for you to get longer throws because they don't have as much fade and they're just overall more controllable for every level of player. So start with a putter, start with a mid-range. You won't regret it. Next, we got the Tactic, and I'm going to put the Tactic. The Tactic is considered a putter, but it's more of an approach. I want to put it in advanced, intermediate. I'm gonna put it intermediate because I think everybody needs some sort of overstable approach disc in their bag. And you know, the soft tactic, it's pretty much intermediate to pro level. Beginner probably won't really know what to do with it, but a lot of intermediate to advanced and pro levels will find value with the tactic. Next up is the mid-ranges. Let me see if I can do this in chronological order. I gotta go close to my computer screen because I gotta see what these say. Okay, we're gonna first do the MD1, out of production disc that is very similar to the MD, MD2, and MD3, but it's not similar at all because it's different. That's the best way I can describe it. But I'm gonna put it intermediate. Don't recommend seeking out this disc. We have other discs that you know, fill the slot very well. So it's a cool disc in our archive, but you know, the MD3 gets the job done. All right, found it. MD is definitely it's an everybody disc for sure. Simon Lizotte throws it as one of his mid-ranges. It's really good if you don't have a sidearm because essentially it's very neutral flying. I wouldn't say it's overstable, and I definitely wouldn't say it's understable. So stable in the literal sense. So it's for everybody. MD is for everybody, guys. Next up, we're gonna go to the Gremlin because this is one of our earlier discs. It's kind of a weird one. I don't recommend seeking out a Gremlin. It's very similar to like an MD1, maybe a little bit more overstable, but you know, it's out of production. It's been out of production for a while, and you know, I'm not bad mouthing it because there's definitely some people out there who like it, but we're just gonna say it's an intermediate disc. Okay, next up, MD2. I'd say MD2 is for beginners. I'd say the MD2 is for everybody. Very neutral flying, straight. If you remember, Ken the Champ Climo said it'll work for you too, and I agree. So MD2 is out of production, but it's for everybody. It's a fun disc, so if you can find one, I'd recommend picking one up. Okay, next up, my favorite Discmania mid-range, the MD3. It can be for everybody, but it's definitely for everybody. I'm gonna put it in intermediate. The MD3 is a little bit more overstable than what we were talking about before. Similar to the MD1 and the Gremlin. I would recommend an MD or MD2 before I would recommend the MD3 to a beginner. So we're gonna throw it in intermediate, but obviously advanced and pro level players will like it as well. MD4, I'm gonna put the MD4 in more of the advanced category. It's slightly more overstable than the MD3. So I think that's why it's gotta get the bump to advanced. MD5. MD5 is an advanced level disc, but it could be intermediate, but it's more of a utility disc. The tactic is similar. There's a little bit of overlap between the two, but the tactic is a little bit more friendly to lower arm speed. So I'm gonna put it in intermediate, but MD5 in advanced. The method I would put in between the two because the method does not like off-axis torque. But I'm gonna put it at intermediate. It's kind of similar to the MD3 or the MD1, but it has a bead on it. So if you like beaded mid-ranges, definitely try the method. The method will find itself in intermediate. We have a few other mid-ranges hiding somewhere. Where is it? Oh, okay. The next guy up is the Origin, one of our newer mid-ranges. It's understable. It's easily a beginner disc, but you know, I should have gotten rid of the beginner category because there's no such thing as like truly beginner. Actually, there is. There's a few discs coming up. I'm talking over myself. But the Origin is for everybody. Origin's a really cool disc. A lot of glide on the understable side. Kyle Klein is really loving it. I think Nate Perkins is throwing it. Simon said it was pretty cool. I like it too, but I don't think I'll throw it because I have MD3s that fill that slot. But Origin is a very beginner friendly, but also a disc that pro level players can shape in the woods because it has a lot of glide and late turn on it. We're gonna throw that in everybody. The next mid-range is a Maestro, and honestly, it's similar to the Tactic. It's a little bit faster, but also a little bit less stable. I'm going to throw the Maestro in beginner because it's usually at a little bit lighter weight. The Maestro was actually the Spring Ox, but it just got renamed. So we're going to throw the Maestro in beginner. Okay, now we're clubbing up to Fairway Drivers, and let's go with some more of the active line stuff. The Genius. I believe the Genius originally was the Sunbird. I could be wrong. And it's very understable. Very, very understable. So I think it only makes sense that it goes in beginner. And a lot of the active line was actually designed for beginner players. It's a cheaper plastic. I'm not saying that in a bad way, but cheaper, so we're cheaper with the ambitions of maybe getting in some big box stores, or just getting plastic into people's hands. So it was designed for beginners, so I think it's only fair that I put it in that category. Magician is another one. It's almost a hybrid between a mid-range and a fairway driver. I felt one for like the first time. I think the Magician was the Fox Spirit or something along those lines. Definitely a beginner disc, a hybrid style disc, which is great because then you don't need a mid-range or a driver. So I think it's fair to throw it in that category. Okay, now moving on to the Essence. Extremely beginner-friendly disc, but it's for everybody. Going pro, advanced, intermediate. It's a great disc. A lot of Team Discmania is throwing it now. I throw it for rollers, grenades, some trick shots, even in the woods if I want to knife something on a hyzer and get it to stand up. But I know Nate Perkins is throwing some nasty lines with it in the woods. So essentially, if you're an intermediate player, it'll be a great all-around fairway driver. Advanced would be kind of your turnover driver, maybe pro level. It's a utility disc / roller. So next up, one of the OGs in our lineup, the FD. It's very similar to the Essence, but I'm going to put it in intermediate because the FD, I would say before the Essence came out, I would put it in the everybody category, but FDs can be a little bit stable. You can definitely find some lighter ones that are very beginner friendly, good for all skill levels. We're going to put it starting at intermediate. Obviously that can go up to advanced and pro level. The Night Strike is Nate's Signature Series disc. Casey White throws it, Simon throws it. So a lot of people love the FD, and some people would argue that it's our best disc ever. So I'm gonna start it out in intermediate because I've found some FDs that are pretty stable, and I definitely wouldn't want to give those to a beginner. My battery died on my camera, so we're just talking about the FD. Now let's move to the second version of the FD, the three-tooled FD2. For those of you who don't know, the FD2 has had 3 different versions. The first one was like this really blunt, kind of non-glidey, dumpy disc. I kind of liked them, but it was really awkward. Then it got retooled into something that was too overstable. I actually have one of those in my bag. I throw it a lot. I love it, but not the best disc for the average person. That mold would have went into advanced or pro level. But I'm going to put the FD2, the three-tooled FD2, in advanced. It's like teetering between intermediate and advanced, and the reason I say that, compared to the FD, it has less glide and more stability. I think it flies like the FD for more of power players. It's my favorite fairway driver in the lineup. I've thrown FDs at one point. I've thrown the Instinct at one point, but the FD2 is kind of a culmination of those two, but minus some glide. So if you have some issues with excess glide, which is not many people, but I do, the FD2 is an amazing disc. So I'm going to put it in the advanced category. Next up, Instinct. I'm going to put it in intermediate, not everybody. The Instinct is very similar to the FD in a lot of regards. The only thing that kind of differentiates the two is the Instinct has a little bit more stability than the FD, but very similar amounts of glide. And, it's kind of either or. Some people carry them both, but, if you're looking for a little bit more stability, it's, let's say, the Instinct's between the the FD and the FD2. So definitely a great disc. Okay, moving on to our distance drivers. Okay, let's go with the Active Line Mentor. I'm gonna put the Mentor in intermediate. Originally it was the Sea Serpent. I don't know if we're making baseline plastics of the Mentor at the moment, but if it was, it'd definitely be an intermediate style disc. They're actually kind of stable in the premium active line plastic, so I'm gonna put that in intermediate. And then let's go with the TDX. The TDX is for everybody, but I'm gonna probably throw it in beginner. It's one of our more beginner-friendly drivers. The TDX is out of production, I believe. We haven't produced them in a while, but like I said, go to the Discmania collectors and throwers group if you're interested. Make an in search of post because there's definitely some laying around. So next disc would be the TD. The TD is similar to the TDX, but I would give it a little bit more stability. Intermediate, another out of production disc. I threw it for a while. Great roller disc, very symmetrical, and good turning driver. Intermediate players will probably throw it straight, might turn a little bit and then fade. Advanced turnover driver, pro level roller. TD2, the Fever. I would probably say advanced level players and pro level players don't even really want to use it. So I'm just gonna throw in beginner, and it's another out of production disc. So when I'm editing this, I was realizing I missed the CD and the CD2, and I'll just say the CD would probably be going in the intermediate as well as the CD2. The CD's out of production, and I don't believe we're producing the CD2. I might be wrong because it's Dana's Roaming Thunder. CD2 is a phenomenal disc. I would say it's even beginner friendly if you get the right run. CD2 is one of my favorites that I actually don't bag, but it's a great roller. And the amount of distance you get for it just being a control / fairway driver is second to none. So CD2 is a phenomenal disc, and I feel bad that I forgot about it. Okay, we're going back. I forgot about one disc for the fairway driver, but honestly, it's in between fairway and distance driver. It's the FD3, and then the FD3 is definitely advanced or pro level. Overstable fairway driver. I'm gonna put it in pro level because I think more advanced style players could, it's right in between. If there was a tier right there, I'd put it there, but since there's nothing up in pro level, I'm putting the FD3 up top to fill that. It's a great disc. I rely on it. It's one of my go-tos, so throwing that guy up there. All right, classic disc. We got the PD. Oh wait, is that?
Really nice. Spike
I hear a beat.
I
love that. Sounds good, and it's telling you what the PD does. Sweet. Shout out to Heikki Antonen. Banger of a track. I love it. Yeah, PD is in advanced. The PDX. It's the PD with a little X factor. Out of production. I would say it's advanced as well. It never really caught traction. None of the team members really liked it that much. I'm sure there's a few disc maniacs out there who bagged one. Anthony Barella liked it for a while. When Paul was on Innova, he was throwing it. I would have really liked it. It wasn't as overstable as I wanted. If it was more overstable, it would have been in pro level, but it just didn't come out how I wanted to. So we're gonna throw it in advanced. Then we got the PD3. We released this last year. Very overstable, not quite as overstable as we wanted it to be, but definitely an advanced pro level disc. But we're gonna put it up at pro level because I would recommend the advanced level players probably shy away for it. You got to have big power in order to throw the PD3. Next up, the PD2. It's advanced. Some advanced players or even intermediate players would throw the PD2 if they're ripping over on a sidearm with Anheuser, but let's be real, it's a pro level disc. It's a pro's best friend when it gets windy. You need overstable shots, reliability. Pro level PD2 all the way. Enigma. The Enigma is an intermediate level distance driver. Lighter weight, it's going to be very suitable for people who have, let's say, 300 to 350 feet of power. It's going to fly straight with a consistent finish. Honestly, I think the Enigma is one of the best all-around distance drivers. It's similar to, let's just say this, it's like a beat-up DD3 out of the box. I've thought about putting the Enigma in the bag when I'm playing here in Colorado and I need a more understable disc or even a roller. But I love the name Enigma too. I think when we released the Enigma, we hit a total home run with that disc. I can't recommend the Enigma enough. And basically the Enigma was the successor to this disc, which is a DDX. We're not producing it at the moment. Has a little bit more turn than the Enigma. So I can't really put in beginner because I would never really recommend a beginner a high-speed driver. But I'm going to put it at intermediate, like in between intermediate and beginner. Next disc is the DD. Out of production disc. The DD was supposed to be kind of like a slower version, less stable version of the PD2. And that's kind of what it is. I'd almost put it in pro level, but some DDs came out really overstable, almost like PD2s, but others were kind of more neutral flying. You could get some flight out of them, but we're going to put that in advanced. DD3, definitely an advanced level disc, but certain intermediate players who throw hard forehands, hard backhands, and pro level players love it. The DD3 is also known as the Cloud Breaker. Great disc, my favorite distance driver from Discmania. So we're gonna throw that guy in advance. And then the last disc is the DD2. The DD2 was one of the first releases for Discmania driver-wise, and I'm gonna put it at advanced. Some of them are really overstable, others were pretty understable, so it was kind of an inconsistent mold. It's out of production now, but we're putting that in advance. All right, guys, I think this is pretty accurate, and hopefully if you were confused on where all the discs went in the lineup, this helped you out a bit. And sorry if it's hard to see some of these names. Some of them you can see like the Method or the Instinct, but I know it's kind of hard to see that like this is an MD2 or this is an MD5, but I mean, what can you do? I'll zoom in the best I can for you guys. All right, let's head over to the giveaway and get that rolling. Okay, before we get to the giveaway, I need to add one more disc. I forgot about the P3X. Amazing disc. I love it. It's one of my favorite approach discs. It's a putter, so I'd probably throw it in, maybe it's more of an advanced style putter because it really doesn't have that much glide, but obviously since a putter, anybody can use it. So everybody / intermediate or advanced. So one of those three tiers. I just want to mention the P3X because it's a great disc. Okay, guys, yesterday I asked you, what is the best book you've ever read? And there were a bunch of comments and a lot of good recommendations. I picked a random comment. So if I need any book recommendations, I'm definitely just going to go to the comment section and pick some of those out. So the winner of the giveaway, which was for this Iron Samurai MD3, is Kyle Gause, almost like Kyle Gause from Tenacious D. And he wrote, by far the best book I've ever read is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It has been a truly good read for me. It's all about asking and answering the question of what makes a winner? And the answer that the book gives is amazing. I highly recommend everyone to read it, and I hope Eagle reads it as well. I've actually heard of that book, and it's been on my list. So I will add that to the queue. I'm not sponsored by Audible. I know a lot of people are because I hear that ad everywhere, but maybe I'll use one of my Audible credits for it. So I appreciate it, Kyle. And if you wanna claim this MD3, message me on Instagram or Facebook. Okay, so today's giveaway, I'm actually gonna show it to you right here because it's not from my collection. Mike Kemp, also known as Quotes-A-Rock86 on Instagram, go give him a follow, is donating this beautiful dyed MD3 Iron Samurai 2. So if you want to win that, just comment down below. What is your favorite Discmania disc? I don't think I have asked that question yet, so we're gonna go with that. Okay guys, I believe that's it. Oh yeah, and that banger I told you about at the start of the video, I'm gonna close out the video by playing this one track. It's by Play Broom Studio. I'm gonna make the outro a little bit longer so you can get a taste of it. It's another remix. Keep them coming, guys. I appreciate it. So until tomorrow, keep on dreaming, subscribe, and peace.
Discmania Golf Discs.
Okay, Discmaniacs, I'm Jussi Meresmaa, owner of the Discmania. And this disc is owner of the disc.